A weather impact alert as you head out the door this morning. Rain beginning, and this is going to intensify through the day. This is all the remnant of Hurricane Beryl. We'll talk about the timeline and when the heaviest rain is expected.
And speaking of, heavy rain causing all sorts of headaches in Jefferson County. Ahead, where the severe weather trapped several kids inside a daycare. And this morning, one of two juvenile detention escapees is back in custody. Coming up, how the two teens slipped away from the facility.
This is Today in St. Louis, focused on you.
Good Tuesday morning. Thanks for waking up with us at 4 a.m. I'm Sydney Stallworth here with Anthony Slaughter as we keeping an eye on the skies.
Oh, yes.
We are in a weather impact alert day, expecting rain and storms.
Rain through the day. In fact, it's just getting going here this morning. It's going to intensify by lunchtime, and then this evening all of it starts to wrap up. So it's a long duration event, unlike what we had last week where it rained for just a couple of hours and boom, flash flooding. But yeah, we could have some flooding concerns later. I think by this evening, maybe tonight, Sydney, we could have maybe a few issues when it comes to rising streams and creeks, but I don't think it's going to be, what we've seen down in Texas. The hurricanes, when they move inland, they weaken quite a bit, but we will have some tropical heavy rain around through the day. I think upwards of 2 to 4 inches is reasonable. And again, this is going to be through the day. So the accumulation this morning is going to be minor, but once we get towards tonight, that's when all of this will start to tally up. So just go slow on the roads this morning. That's really what you need to do as far as what you should do if you are headed out the door as far as driving this morning. There's the flood watch. It has been extended now to include St. Louis. That happened yesterday, and that'll be the trend through the day. You see the first bands of the remnants of Beryl are arriving right along that 44 corridor on the Missouri side and that 64-70 corridor, some widespread rain there. This is going to be, again, the trend all day long. We're talking widespread. I think every single community will have some rain today. North County, back towards the Metro East. Even in South County, you can see that yellow picking up there from 55 and 44. So there will be some pockets of heavy rain through the day. Again, by lunchtime, the heaviest. And then this evening, all of it wraps up. Sydney, temperatures today in the 70s for highs. We will talk about the rest of the week's forecast and show you the maps and the futurecast tracking Beryl as it moves through. We'll see you in just a few minutes.
All right. Thank you so much, Anthony. Well, while the remnants of Beryl are starting to hit us this morning, another storm system caused all sorts of flooding problems in Jefferson County yesterday. Flash flooding trapped kids inside of a daycare in House Springs. Our Annie Crawl brings us much more on this very scary situation.
Trying to wait out the rain at work in House Springs, mother Ashley Weibly was caught in traffic backed up for at least half a mile on Main Street around 5:15 on Monday.
I pull up and there is just water everywhere, and my first instinct is like, oh my gosh, my babies are in there. There's no way to get in. Water's going way too fast.
All 3 of her children were at Apple of His Eye Daycare on Church Road. First responders say flash flooding caused Bear Creek to rise drastically.
They were talking about getting search and rescue, so then my anxiety gets a little bit higher.
Ashley told us there were about 3 or 4 other kids along with 3 adults trapped. Blocks away on Indian Springs Road, a mobile home park had to have many of its residents evacuated because of the flooding. Warren Robinson, the Jefferson County Director of Emergency Management, told us. A massive tree down across the road blocked traffic. Valley Middle School also got hit hard by the flash flooding right outside its doors. Thankfully, it was quiet with school being out, but Ashley was relieved things weren't worse.
Immediately started praying, got a hold of the daycare provider. She's also the pastor there, and started talking to her, and she's like, all the kids are good, everything's good. And she just told me that they're eating hot dogs right now and we're about to go get them. So
Annie Crawl, 5 on your side.
As House Springs continues to deal with the flash flooding damage, there are thousands of people without power, as well as a number of local businesses, gas stations, and fast food restaurants as well. Continuing our coverage this morning on a deadly shooting in Berkeley. This morning, the Major K Squad is looking into the crime, which happened around 11 o'clock Sunday night. Officers responding to shots fired along Jefferson found a man shot inside of a car. He later died at a hospital. Right now, several businesses are reeling in the aftermath of a 4th of July mass shooting in downtown St. Louis, where 7 people were shot. One of the businesses affected by last week's violence is Ucraft. The owners say they're worried about paying for the damage to their windows and are also concerned the violence could scare away business.
I've got a 6-year-old nephew who is urging his father not to come down here to work because of safety reasons, and I got a 4-year-old niece that cried the whole entire time. You know, we're in this fight right now to get people to come downtown to eat with us, and they see this, why would they?
Ucraft's owners say they've invested nearly $1 million into their downtown space and are hoping more action will be taken to prevent any further violence. This morning, one of two teenagers who escaped from the St. Louis Juvenile Detention Center is back in custody. The pair managed to get away on July 4th at around 2 p.m. Police say they caught a 15-year-old near the Justice Center. Right now, a 16-year-old still remains on the run. If you have any information on where he might be, you are urged to leave a tip with Crime Stoppers. That number should be there on your screen. It's 866-371-TIPS. President Biden resisting calls for him to step down ahead the message he's been trying to amplify since his debate against former President Trump. Plus, in just a few days' time, a historic church is set to be demolished. Coming up, why St. Augustine is being torn down.
Well, the backyard forecast is a soggy one today. The rain is just getting going, and it's going to rain all day, probably until bedtime or when the sun goes down. Temperatures today in the 70s, so some cooler weather for today. We're back to talk about Beryl as it makes its way through the area.